Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for Commissioner for being here. Thank you to the entire Pennsylvania State Police for being here today. Welcome. On behalf of Pike and Wayne counties, I just want to thank you all for your professionalism, your leadership in our community. It was a very difficult time during the manhunt. Lieutenant Colonel Bivens, you did just a wonderful job, and we want to say thank you. I know it was a very difficult situation for your professional family, and I hope there's some healing. I will say that during that funeral, which was one of the most beautiful funerals I've ever been to, the word senseless acts was used over and over again, and I can't get those words out of my mind, but it seemed to help me heal, that senseless acts do occur. So thank you. Along those lines, we had talked about a supplemental appropriation last fall when I think it started to be $9 million, then $10 million. I guess we're over $11 million now. Could you let us, tell us what, in your testimony, Commissioner, you talk about the cost, and there is no need for a supplemental appropriation. I mean, my question is, how did you find that money, or did we have to take it from somewhere else, and how were you able to pay those bills?
Sure. If the total cost what the estimated cost was about $11.7 million, as we indicated. The personnel expenses were a little over 10, and then if you broke out sort of salaries and overtime, that was around $7 million, and then operating expenses around $900,000. And again, I think the state police was very grateful with the offer of an appropriation to pay for this. But I think the state police again. Continuing to try and make sure that they are as fiscally responsible as possible. We're going to internally look at the dollars that we were able to save before ever coming forward and asking for that amount of money. And I think a handful of things played into that. I think during the time that the incident was occurring and that budgetary time, one of the big savings that we had were happened to be the low fuel prices going on around the country. And so we were able, what was normally set aside for gasoline, for fuel expenses in the organization, we were able to save a big chunk of money, which again was put toward the bill for that. Also, we delayed a certain amount of purchases that we did not feel were sort of essential, critical purchases at the time. We delayed those purchases to ensure that, again, we are saving money for the state. The governor's budget office did release $1.8 million from budgetary reserve to assist with with that dollar amount also, and paying down the dollar amount. And there were some increases in some additional augmentations that we had that, again, we put the funding toward paying down that dollar amount. And I think also to the credit of the organization also, they did a very good job of ensuring that we were spending our current money, especially on overtime, appropriately, and that we had strong oversight on where we were spending overtime, after this occurred, to ensure that we didn't have to come back to the state and ask for a huge dollar amount after that.
I know the Speaker and numerous leaders here in the Capitol were there for you in any way possible, so I wasn't sure how you were going to make up that money. And, please, in a situation like that, you've got to ask us, and I think we understood what was going on, and we appreciate your good work. Have all the agencies been paid as far as the investigation? We know, New York was involved, New Jersey was involved. There are different agencies that came in to help in the manhunt. Have all those agencies been reimbursed?
You want to talk about it?
Yes. Actually, most of the agencies provided their services without cost to us. New York and New Jersey, we brought in early on through the EMAC agreement through PEMA. That's a standard process that's used nationwide when assistance is needed in an immediate nature. And so we understood that we would be reimbursing for those costs. The total costs for the two agencies were between $500,000 and $600,000. We have reimbursed for those. In terms of all of the federal agencies, some of the assistance we got from some local agencies or even other state police agencies, by and large, those services were provided at their own expense, and there was no reimbursement sought.
Just to echo that, I think one of the great things about law enforcement is that we do have these understandings with other law enforcement agencies that when there is a critical incident like that, we don't view our border different than their border. we're all out here just to sort of help. And, it was similar things when, New Jersey went through the superstorm, Sandy blew through there, resources from around the country went there. And there are some that get reimbursed federally through federal funding processes, but, a great deal of that, we do it because that's our job.
Thank you. And Mr. Commissioner, along those lines, as the head law enforcement official in our Commonwealth, did the governor consult you and your administration regarding his recently enacted death penalty moratorium?
The determination of a death penalty moratorium, again, I think that is a decision made by the governor's office. And, where the state moves forward with that is the decision of our elected officials. And, for law enforcement, our job is to act and do our portion of the criminal justice fight. And that's what we'll do.
Before I was a legislator, I was an accountant. So when it comes to legal issues and judicial issues around the Commonwealth, my first phone call goes to my district attorney back home, whether it be Wayne or Pike, whether it be consulting with attorneys, whether it be consulting with the Bar Association, whether it be consulting with people who are more familiar on a certain topic. I mean, being able to reach out to my friends that will help me make smart, educated decisions. I think it's somewhat sad that the governor unilaterally made this decision without consulting the head law enforcement official in this Commonwealth. I mean, he obviously didn't consult the legislature as well, and that happens from time to time. But in a situation like this, I can tell you the people in Pike County are scratching their heads. We're facing a costly, lengthy trial, and we're not sure that if we go for the death penalty, and our district attorney who's been working so hard on this, if we do win and unfortunately the accused killer of Corporal Dixon is accused and found guilty in a fair trial, that the governor's moratorium will supersede any decision made by our court system. So again, it's confusing to me why our governor would not consult all of you, who are the true professionals, regarding this very difficult moratorium. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.